Dice Age is made possible thanks to the support of our patrons. We'd especially like to thank our living legend, Silgwyn. Thank you very much, and enjoy the show.
The Empire of Maca has existed for nearly 1,000 years. Founded and ruled by Avon the Main, the immortal Empress, it quickly expanded its borders thanks to the overwhelming power of its mages and the shrewd politics of its nobles. Now it has fully conquered the centre of the continent of Elmera, and although war has ended, peace still eludes its populace. As the Empire nears its first millennia, the signs of turmoil have become more frequent and apparent. Monsters are becoming more bold, nobles plot schemes of usurpation, and whispers of rebellion hang heavy in the slums. This gave rise to the adventurer. These strong individuals of all races and classes lend their might to the citizens of Maca to drive back monstrous incursions. There are even adventurers who perform deeds so noble that the people can see beyond their race to the hero that lies within. There are those who criticise these adventurers and claim they're nothing more than pawns used to advance the political machinations of nobles. Despite the immortal Empress herself making fewer and fewer appearances, there are those whose faith in the Empire remains unshaken. But the wise know that it only takes a few sparks to ignite the flames of change. Allow me to introduce you to these sparks. Welcome to Elmera.
Hello, and welcome to the epilogue of Dice Age Elmera. This is the final episode of a actual play D&D show. My name is Jack. I have been your dungeon master. With me, as always, are our wonderful players. Would you all go around and introduce yourselves?
Hey, I'm AJ, and I have had the honor of playing both Edgar Wood and Kilsey, aka Zeroth.
Hey, I'm Alice Rose, and I have been Tiana Polokrovka Rockfort, your elven sorceress.
Hey, I'm Dakota, and I've been Esarayas, the human rogue.
Hello, I'm Zach. I've been Tauros, your tiefling paladin.
Hello, I'm Trey, and I played both Finn and now the newly named, or I should say renamed, Oberon Perseus Maximus Germanius Cornelius Alexander Claudius II.
Let's go.
Hell yeah!
Wonderful. I did briefly consider cutting off Trey just for the tradition.
I hope you know I was ready.
Messaging Trey.
Yes, I was ready. I literally was about to just scream the intro over you.
Mhm.
It was like-
But yeah, so this is our little epilogue. As we all know, in the previous episode, I guess I can just take over the recap since AJ's been fired from that position so that we don't have any more
What?
holes opening up.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, no, it's all good. Anyways.
Get the Oracle to do something.
Maybe. In this case, yeah, you guys, as your characters, all managed to defeat the so-called Immortal Empress and reclaim the relic. Unfortunately, Planon passed due to the exertion of his chosen form. But RC-30 stepped up and sacrificed himself to revive the goddess Maca. And you all won in the APE's revolution against the Empire. So now, it's time for us to just kind of go over what's been going on. In the immediate aftermath of what happened, in the months following the death of the Empress, several nobles refused to acknowledge the defeat of the Empire and attempted to rally their personal forces in opposition to the allied peoples of Elmera. Their resistance was not long-lived, however, as any non-elven soldiers quickly deserted and joined the APE. Many nobles who refused to surrender were captured and imprisoned, but others managed to flee to the Amenti Desert and to the wetlands of Nantua, specifically in the Kingdom of Elen. Trials were held against every elven noble who was in power during the time of the Empire, and depending on the severity of their injustices that were committed under their rule, they suffered punishments ranging from the seizure of their lands and wealth to execution. Those who agreed to willingly surrender to the authority of the allied peoples of Elmera were granted leniency in their sentences. Of course, that was not all of them, but there were a few who did do so. The city of Avon had its name restored to Moran, the name that the city had when it was not under the control of the Elven Empire. It became the seat of the allied peoples of Elmera and its council. A new election was held for council members, and every person was allowed a vote so long as they renounced the Empire and swore loyalty to the allied peoples of Elmera. Under the guidance of the new council, the APE spread its influence throughout the former empire. Over the course of 3 years, all former members of the Elven nobility were forced to relinquish their power, and a democratic republic was installed, modeled largely after the Republic of Nantua. The land was divided into several counties, territories, and states, each with their own elected representatives. Some of these representatives were actually former nobles who managed to campaign effectively, but they were also at all times subject to oversight by their constituents and by the council. Additionally, worship of all religions was made legal throughout the APE, including the Sylvanus Pantheon. Worship of Femora spread as well through her celestial Baphomalia, and additionally, Edgar was named a saint in the Femoran religion and became a symbol to many who practice it. Additionally, during the rise of the APE Republic, the Council honored their agreement with the human-free city of Tolestadt. A port city was created on the northeast coast of the allied peoples of Elmera that was named Rostock. The city was deemed a free economic zone where human industry could develop with minimal taxation from the allied peoples of Elmera, and was guaranteed to be ruled by a governor elected by the residents of Tolestadt and confirmed by the Prince of Tolestadt. Additionally, an extradition treaty was developed between Tolestadt and the allied peoples of Elmera, ensuring that any fugitives discovered in the APE territory were to be delivered to Rostock, where they could be tried according to the legal code of Tolestadt. In the time since this treaty was established, it's only been enacted on a handful of occasions. Additionally, during this time, a statue was erected in the center of Moran, next to the now dormant tree of Lakar Coccyx that depicts the three figures attributed to the helping to solidify the rise of the APE. The first being Planin Femora, the man who was the guiding political movement behind the Monstrous Alliance, the one that managed to oversee the actual development of the allied peoples of Elmera in its earliest times. The other man being Regulus Claudius III, who sacrificed his life to resurrect the goddess Macha to ensure that the relic could not be used for ill, and that the goddess Morrigan could have a significant challenge to her authority. And the third being Edgar, standing between them, each of them placing a hand on his shoulders, uh, symbolizing his sacrifice in the defeat of the original Regulus Claudius, and who became a martyr and symbol for the world that could be in the absence of the Empire. Outside of the boundaries of the APE, we look to the the mountains of Ghoul and the plains of Ithay, the tundra of Ithay. The people of Ghoul and Ithay largely maintain their policy of isolationism, though they have, under the encouraged cultural exchange and relations set up between one particular tribe in the plains of Ithay, there are avenues of potential interaction being talked about between the APE and the people of the mountains and tundra. Over in the Amenti Desert, the Amenti hegemony, under the leadership of their witch queen, has unofficially welcomed the few fleeing former elven nobles who reach their cities. More and more patrols of hegemony forces have been sighted within the Amenti Mountains and within the bay bordering the allied peoples of Elmera. Occasional raids have been conducted in border territories, but the official statement from the hegemony is that these are all actions of bandits, unaffiliated with their military. Though some witness testimonies claim that the raiders were fairly well equipped compared to the typical bandit. Looking over into the wetlands of Nantua, not long after the solidification of the APE's power, the Kingdom of Elen declared war against the Republic of Nantua. Spurred on by the fugitive elven nobles, the Bullywug Kingdom declared that the former revolution that the lizard folk enacted was still ongoing, as the treaty that ended the war was officially signed under the purview of an empire that no longer exists. The Council of the APE honored their agreement with the Republic to send forces, weapons, and general aid to their allies. As of now, the war has yet to be concluded. And then, of course, there is the actions going on within the realm of the gods. With the resurrection of Maka, a schism developed in the Sylvanus pantheon. Maka declared that her murderer was not Fomora, but was in fact her mother Morrigan, and declared that Fomora was her lover, who would never have raised a hand against her. She then joined forces with Baphamalia and encouraged other members of the Sylvanists to fight against Morrigan. As of now, the Sylvanus pantheon is completely fractured, with two main factions composed of those loyal to Morrigan and those joining in Maka's rebellion. Those among Maka's forces are Dagda, the eunuch, Flidace, Len, Boanan, and Tethrin. The gods within Morrigan's forces are Clidna, Midir, Elathan, Gran, and Liran. As of now, there is yet to be a conclusion to this war. And I think now we will turn it over to our lovely players. Where are your characters at with the end of this story?
Mine is going to be incredibly long, so I should go first, because Kilsey, Zerath, immediately after the battle, starts to realize his form is dissipating at that moment. Says, well, all right, I have to go back, I think, because a big holy war coming up, and think Lady Baphamalia is going to need my help. But I'm always going to be around if you guys ever need. Thank you for letting me pretend to be a hero with actual heroes.
Boros will kind of extend a gauntleted hand in his weakened state as well after the fight. And just, you did well, Kelsey.
There's no pretending, Kelsey. You're a hero.
Go kick their ass up there.
Well,
Leave.
will do.
One last flight.
Keep that in.
Yeah. Hey, the divine realm, or at least me in the divine realm, we've got your back if you ever need anything. Tauros, actually, you know what? Here, and he's gonna take off the necklace that has a bone fragment on it. And he's gonna give it to you. It says, "I earned this because of you guys, and I know I definitely have earned it, but I'll have plenty of Femora's help when I'm in the divine plane. So I want you to have this for whatever you do here. It's
He'll
part of
like
her."
kind of like in his other hand as he shakes his hand, he'll take it and just kind of hold it to his chest and just, I'll keep it safe for you.
You can give it back when your time's done, if you want.
I will.
Thanks all. As I'm imagining his shrinking and he doesn't realize he's shrinking as this is happening, as he reverts back into full-ass penguin form.
Mm-hmm.
Wah.
And with that, Kelsey dissipates into motes of light and returns to the realm of the gods. Who would like to go next with their character's epilogue?
No, all jumped all at once. I guess I'll do it next. Kind of with that final moment, as he kind of shrinks, Tauros kind of like follows him down to the ground. And then as like he like kind of like kneeling with his hand still in this like little winged fin as he disappears, he kind of gives him a nod, kind of holds this this pendant close to his chest as the kind of the days concluding, the days after this fight. He just kind of takes time to rest. And I imagine this is kind of when like a lot of the APs kind of pushing out a lot of the nobles. I imagine a lot of the guardsmen of Madir are being kind of kicked out, kind of, or rather kind of putting down arms or being like, get out of here. And I imagine this is kind of when like the religion system is kind of being figured out of like, we are going to accept everyone, including Sylvanists. And in this discussion, I imagine like kind of like big heads like Hildra kind of like planning all this out. Tauros, I feel like it takes a little while, but he would offer to become a new kind of Holy Knight commander within the city as the city's growing, as the AP is moving in, as everything's being settled in. He would, I almost feel like he doesn't like immediately goes toward it, but he has this pull to it. I imagine like his team kind of like pushes him towards it of taking up Elda's mantle. But instead of going by a Holy Knight Commander, instead changes his title due to the fact that I feel he would feel that that title was stained with what Madir did to it, with what the Temple of Madir did to it, and instead go by a new title of the Sword of Change for the city.
Okay.
In his many years going on, I imagine he takes up this mantle as a high knight in the order, but very much stays in Ella Creek, and at some point in his life would ask Mal to spend the rest of her life with him. It's a very awkward scene. I imagine it kind of starts with a couple little dates here and there where he's still kind of like not saying the right words, but I feel like after the second like quote unquote date, Mal kind of starts to get the idea of what he's trying to get across to her, of like the, you want to hang out later for dinner, maybe a stroll through the woods type of thing. Romance. But would eventually ask her to spend the rest of her life with him. He
And then he
would
kills her.
also, and then he fucking kills her. All part of the plan. He would outwardly, as he grows, he would keep in touch with his entire group. He, after growing in the city, after getting to know his team, and especially how he saw when he was younger how T would go out of her way to kind of make sure he wasn't alone in his new position, in his new life, he would go out of his way to make sure he kept in touch with everyone best he could, with letters, going out to meet them when they can. I imagine he meets up with Oberon pretty regularly just in the city, because I know Oberon's kind of sticking around there. Everyone else, again, he tries to meet up with who and he can. Um, I imagine as he ages, he also has a little family with Mal. He has a daughter who he names Luma after Elda. And at one point in his life, I imagine he asks Mal to kind of join him on a little meeting with his father. I feel like he kind of, even when he moves into Ella Creek, he kind of stays away. He's still, even like now in his grown state, kind of afraid to enter that house. And I imagine even when he's in town and he's like not on duty, he doesn't see his father a lot. But I imagine one day when he's finally gained the courage, he would kind of like go and knock on that door to talk to his father.
Yeah, it's a difficult moment. Your father isn't he's never been a man that's good with his emotions, but over time he comes to, you know, he comes to apologize to you, and he tells you that seeing the heartbreak that your mother went through after you ran away and then her death not long after, it showed him how wrong he was to reject you and to ostracize you. And he's just sorry that it took him so long to ever to realize that.
Yeah, he would kind of imagine almost sitting at like a table across from him, just kind of like they have this kind of deep conversation. Tauros would explain that he knows what the decisions he's made in his life has brought him to, and how he feels like he ran because he felt that he had to, that he felt like he was ashamed with his existence. And he acknowledges that he's caused so many problems and so much pain to his father, but he also, I feel, apologizes for what he did. Though he's not fully ashamed for who he's become now as this shield and beacon for those who need it. He knows he had to do what he needed to do to become who he is now, but he still is sorry for what pain he's caused.
Yeah,
And he would also ask his father to, remain in his life, be a grandfather for his daughter, and be there with him.
absolutely.
And I imagine there's one other little conversation that Tauros has as one day, kind of going into his much more older years. Well, I guess not older. He's still kind of younger. He's still kind of new to the sort of change. As one day outside Fen's temple, he appears, kind of walking up the steps after finally finding his way there. Not exactly knowing where to go because he's never been here. But will kind of look around for his dear good old pal Fen.
Yeah. You see him at the temple. Probably you actually see him just looks like he's surrounded by like 3 or 4 like small children that just of like various races. You see a half elf child, you see a tiefling child, and half orc, and then halfling, and he's got a scowl on his face as he's just listening to all them talk. And the second he sees you, he just like motions his hand and like shoos the kids away, and they don't do it. So then he actively just like pushes them, like not like like
Yeah.
gives them Jill shoves of like, no, you seriously need to go. and walks up. He looks a bit weathered. You can tell that a rebuilding the order and everything has gotten to him over the
Yeah.
years. And he
Kind
just
of
looks at you,
extends
Taurus.
it. Yeah,
Oh,
Taurus extends an extended gauntlet towards him. I imagine now he's wearing some very like bright, shiny golden and silver armor, like adorning it now with a cape on his side with Bathmalia's symbol on it as he extends a hand. It's good to see you again.
it's good to see you too. And as he clasps the hand, we see you apparently got too good for the armor.
Yeah, he is just actually like a smile as he kind of like reaches around to his bag and kind of holds out the armor. Just, I wanted to return it to you.
Oh, well, was quite ready to never receive it again, but I won't say no, and he'll take it. And he'll just he'll call one of the members of the monastery over to come take it to me personal chambers.
I was
So, get
oh,
the feeling you didn't come all the way here just to return that.
yeah, couple things. One, you are a very good craftsman. I was hoping to ask you for a favor.
Sure, depends on the favor, but we should be able to work something out.
How are you at making saddles?
Not usually in me wheelhouse, but
He
I
kind of
think I
like
could get it done.
he kind of like leans around, like kind of looks back and leans around to like show Fen as you look outside and see this strange bird creature that's almost like a large eagle. But you see out of his chest are these almost like bones of ribs. And you see as it goes up the neck is just no skin, it's just skeletal head of a deer, a stag with horns. It's, no one I know can make a mount, a saddle for that, and you're kind of the best person I might know.
Fuck is that?
Um, you remember my horse?
That's your horse?
Yeah, that's
Would
Milby.
you feed it? Or not feed
Um,
it?
apparently, followers of Baphomalia, their steeds grow as they do. I thought maybe I was gonna get a bigger horse. That's not a
No,
horse.
listen, there's the horse that is called a nightmare, and this is just actually a nightmare.
Yeah, he's something else. But I was hoping maybe you could help me with some measurements at least.
I should be able to fix her up. Give me like a few hours. We can get something done.
Of course. And as they kind of like go about, he'll kind of like not say anything for a second as they kind of like go about measurements and like kind of like walking around. Just, um, I also just wanted to thank you for everything that you've done. I know I've already thanked you plenty, but you really helped us all out there in keeping us safe.
Finn just snorts as you say that. Just we didn't do anything. I simply was in the right place at the right time. Spoke the right words.
Well, without your right words, I wouldn't have found my path that I did. You you helped me realize what I had to do, and you saved me more times than I count, whether it's through your tinkering or your magic. I wouldn't have been able to face my demons, or, well, I guess the gods that I feared to cross, but it's because of you I'm fighting for a side I believe in. I'm protecting the people I care for and love. And I know I'm not, I know neither of us are, he calls it sentimental, but
The
you
fuck
are
is
my
that?
friend. You are my friend, bud, and I appreciate what you've given all of us.
You're welcome, Torps. And thank you. You're the. You're what. You're what these people need. You are the symbol that they need in this time. And you're doing a pretty damn good job at it from what I hear.
There's definitely a smile on his face at that, just a nod with a smile. I did want to offer something to you. I'm sure might have already mulled something over. I can never truly feel like I can thank you for all you've fully done, but I want to try. So I wanted to offer to assist you in rebuilding your temple, rebuilding your order in Eurydices. And if you were willing, I wanted to extend a hand to you as the sort of change to bring your temple to the city. Whether taking up an old one, or I will even personally help you build a temple. She deserves it, and so do you.
Well, all right then. And you see Finn, like, after, like, taking the measurements, and he, like, cracks his back a little bit, just, well, we've been meaning to actually do this for a while, but, follow me inside, Taurus. Like, your skeleton horse thing can stay out here. It's not going to eat anybody, right?
No, he's very good at not eating people, I found out. Scaring? Yes. Eating? No.
Comforting. No.
And as they walk back, he like looks Milby in the what should be the eyes and does that like telepathic don't eat fucking anyone, and then he follows it.
As he gets inside, he eventually takes you to his personal chamber, which just looks like an absolute, like, you would expect it to look more like an armory on the inside. It actually almost just looks like a calligrapher. It's like you see maps, you see blueprints, you see designs, you see just a bunch of drawings everywhere. And he goes to like this large map that he has of just Elmera and just tell me, Taurus, what do you know about dragons?
Very, very little. What I know from school is that they were wiped out. That's it.
Aye, that they were. That is what led to Eurydice's disdain for the Empire. What if I told you that dragons were actually a lot closer than most people think? As he's going to point to specifically 4 locations on the Elmera map that I'm going to ping right here. Location. This location. Actually, 5 locations. That location, this location, and this location. What if I told you that dragons initially cultivated these lands before the elves in these islands?
I would believe that. I'm not surprised they would hide something like this.
Well, sort of change. We believe I've got an official mission to request you then. Let's go to each of these islands and see if there's anything remaining there that could help move us on a path forward. What do you say?
Sounds like we're gonna need that saddle a little quicker than I expected.
Wait, we're riding that thing?
Never mind.
Oh, fucking Christ. Oh, okay. Yeah, sounds like it. Well, my friend, sounds like your adventuring days aren't quite over yet.
Kind of smiles, just something to keep me active.
Good. As he goes, wait, do I need to message your wife?
Probably. That'd probably be best. She will rip you apart.
I would normally say I doubt that, but yeah.
She's just happy that thing's out. Like he keeps having to wait.
Yeah, the thing just
It's
been
like the
sitting
ugly
outside.
piece of furniture that the wife hates the husband got. It's a giant skeletal horse.
Luma really loves it, so she can't get rid of it.
Yes.
She's like, God damn it.
All right. And with that, Ben's going to essentially embark on the first pilgrimage of Eurydice with Tauros.
Oh.
Anything else in Tauros's epilogue?
Well, he spends the rest of his days just with his family and adventuring with Fen as a little dragon searching duo.
All right.
Does he die of magic cancer?
No, he dies of a sword because Fen kills him at some point.
Just to get rid of the horse. Just to get rid of the horse.
No,
If I kill you, it'll go away.
he goes out pretty calmly, I imagine. He would retire at some point.
All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing Tauros's epilogue. Who would like to go next?
I guess I can go.
Right.
Following the defeat of the Immortal Empress, Essa would initially stick around in the APE, initially kind of contemplating what the future lied, as one, he didn't think he would live this long and live past this. Two, up until about 2 days ago, he didn't think he would want to live past this. So it's a lot for Essa to take in. But there's a moment right after the defeat of the Immortal Empress, as Kills disappears, as they're kind of walking out of the throne room and out of the palace and back out onto the streets to see the victory of the APE, and everything just seems brighter. Everything feels more vibrant. The world beneath him feels lively. There's a deeper change than just the Reaper being gone. Essa can feel that something within himself, at the very core of who he is, has changed. And in the immediate aftermath, he would spend a lot of time cleaning up things, making sure that the APE is secure, and making sure that all the nobles are dealt with properly. Would maybe temporarily work as a spy, or maybe not a spy, but like work with the AP if they need to gather stuff on certain nobles, gather up information and evidence of their crimes. He would be the one to sneak into their place, get the stuff, and bring it to them. Making sure that all justice was served. But one day he would eventually gather up T, Oberon, and Tauros and say his goodbyes, as he was going to be leaving the APE. Not permanently, but he wanted to explore the world outside of the borders of the Empire, to see the world that he never really got to see growing up. See a world that was beyond this land here. And he would leave. Essa would spend a lot of time traveling to the plains of Menshite to explore the home that he once had. He would visit his hometown to make sure that his mom was buried in a proper grave, where she had been buried originally was just a unmarked piece of land that Essa always remembered in his head. He would eventually move her coffin to a proper burial into the proper grave cemetery that his town held, making sure she had an actual tombstone and was given the burial that she deserved when she originally passed away. He would make sure that he would explore and just do his best to see the world that he never got to see growing up, as he was so fearful of his own abilities and what people would think of him. He would go to the wetlands in Antoine to see. He would briefly consider going to the Minty Desert, but as the rumors of the bandits' attacks and everything going on would decide against it in his own best interest. The mountains of Ghoul and the mountains of Ghoul and the tundra of Ithay. And all the while, as he explored, he would start gathering almost a new party. There was a Ithaean woman named Nala who was sick of the traditions of the Ithay, did not like being isolated, also had that same sense of wonderment and exploration as Essa did. And on his travels there, she would join him as they made their way across the wetlands in a lizard folk named Now, who was not wanting to be a part of a war and was more so for peace and for healing, seeing himself as a cleric, joined up with Essa's group. And as during one of their adventures when they crossed over the APE, a young tiefling woman who had been disowned by her family for her tiefling nature joined up, named Miss Vari. They would travel around the world, almost not necessarily as a mercenary group, but more so as just a group of adventurers who would take on any issue that they saw, helping people where they could. Essa's new knowledge of poisons, which came from his training with Spade, became very useful as he almost became a sort of healer in a sense, as he was able to craft antidotes and poison resistances, and knew how to how to treat almost every poison that was known. So much so that a nickname began to spread around small communities, but eventually would get larger and larger as he would travel around, called the Poison Man, which S initially found to be very misleading, but would soon embrace as his moniker with pride. He would start calling his group the Firebrands, a name that he chose in honor of Edgar, and knowing that Edgar's dream, once this was all over, was to also explore the world. And so carrying Firebrand with him and with the group of the Firebrands, hoping that maybe wherever Edgar was, he could find some contentment that his legacy and his name was traveling around the world like he wanted it to. He would go back to the APE occasionally, every couple of months or so, but there are months where they are not aware of S's whereabouts or well-being. Letters are not returned or responded to until suddenly he would arrive one day at your doorsteps to say hello, and you get the sense that he is doing this on purpose to just fuck with you all. He would start by visiting Tauros at the rebuilt temple. This would be after Tauros took up his position as the Sword of Change. He would knock on Tauros's door and just try and catch up with all that he's done. He would see. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's like Essa at this point would like knock on the temple door, like your office, the door to your office, basically. You would hear it's a very like similar knock that you would hear Essa have done before to let you know that's him.
You hear like a few screams down the hall because there are still new initiates that see the Periton that
It's
are
the Poison Man.
Yep, that's just like hanging out outside. He kind of like, almost like not like he's. It's unexpected as he kind of like looks up and just, and he'll kind of stand and kind of like open the doors. Essa, I wasn't expecting you.
Yeah, that's kind of, well, that makes sense. I was crossing over the APE. We were on our way back to the tundra, and well, I wanted to say hello and catch up with you. It's been a couple months since we've seen each other, at least.
I'm glad you're able to stop by now. I'm here instead of home. Come in, and he'll kind of like usher you in and like get you a little spot to sit. Have you seen the others yet?
No, you're actually the first person I stopped by to see. Realized you were I was going to stop by you, then visit Oberon, and lastly hit up T because I got a little something I got to do before I head out for a while.
Of course, it's good to see you. He'll like kind of like maybe start a little tea in his office.
Yeah.
Where have you been? You've been gone for a while.
Well, we just got back from Nantua, and it's not doing great with the war going on and everything, but we've managed to stay uninvolved in it. We actually got back from dealing with a group of bandits who had been taking up residency in some old lizard folk temples that we wanted to clear out, and we helped basically reconsecrate them and make sure that they were ready for people to use again.
I see. That sounds like hard work.
It is. To kind of cut through everything, There was another reason I kind of wanted to visit you first. I thought maybe you, of everyone, would know best how to work with this. I have ever since the Reaper's been gone, there's been something weird going on with me. And I thought maybe you, being one of the few people I know, one of the better healers I know outside of Fen, could help.
Of course. What have you been feeling?
It's faint, but every once in a while I can feel that pull, the same pull the Reaper had on me, even though I removed the only shard that I know of that existed within me. It's like a chill that runs down your spine, and everything feels like it goes quiet. The wind and the birds all go quiet, and it sounds like the world itself has died and all, honestly. And I fear that whatever consequences I have for disowning the Reaper are coming back.
I see. It would make sense that it's something that you can't remove from something that's attached to your soul. I can imagine that it's still something that lingers within you that still seeks to grow. I can ask a couple clerics to take a look. Can I do a little check, Jack? Would I be able to do a little check on Essa right here?
Yeah, go for it. This would be medicine or a religion
Religion?
check.
I'll do a religion check. Not my best, but oh wait. Oh, they're both the same. All right. Do medicine check. That's just a 12.
Well, say what you're able to find is something that and because this is also like, this is later, so you'd probably
Yeah,
have better skills
much
at
bigger.
this.
Yeah.
This is you would find that Essa is right, that the shard of the Reaper is gone from his body. Uh, but there's this part. It's sort of like it was excised, but there's still a scar left where it was. Like something was removed, but it hasn't. It
It's
was something that could never be fully
yeah.
restored, even with removing the the malignant tissue.
It's
Mhm.
it's like a battle wound, like you were stabbed. It's something that's etched into you almost physically. Is there anything that I would know that I'm assuming not much could fix something like this? It's just something that's just permanently with him.
It's the kind of thing that it's an imprint on S's very soul.
Yeah.
It's something that you know S's connection to the Reaper is severed, but that came with a cost.
Yep. I feel as though you might already know this, and it might still be hard to hear, but there isn't much of a way to fix what has been done to you. No healer, nor cleric, nor paladin could remove that from you. It is something that you paid for when you severed.
Essa just is quietly like nodding along as you say all this. There's a very clear like a unhappy grimace to his face as the news is broken to him, even though he kind of already expected that was going to be the case. But just kind of shaking his head, just kind of clearing his brain, because, well, at least I know. That's good. I for a while I kind of figured I might have been going crazy.
Sometimes
But
it's better to learn than to
yeah,
just hide from it.
it's better to know what's coming. And there's a Tauros. They've been friends for years. Tauros would see this. There's a shift in Essa's demeanor. He kind of came in like worried but still happy. Now there's this kind of like somberness to it. Essa just kind of stands up and kind of looks at you and goes, "Well, I should probably go visit the others, but give just say hey to Mal and Luma for me, and
Of
tell
course.
them I hope they're doing well. And
Oh,
I'm sorry for cutting our our reintroduction short, but I have to be quick."
yes. Go take care of what you do. And like he kind of like as it kind of like gets up, he'll give him like a firm, like almost like a gauntlet on his shoulders. Stay safe out there, Essa.
You too. And he'll depart from Tauros and head over to meet with Oberon if he can get a meeting with Mr.
Yeah,
Claudius.
yeah.
Mr. Claudius.
The Claudius. Yeah, yeah, you approach the what you remember. The Claudius estate still stands where it did. Not nearly as like it's still a large building, still like maintained, but as you look around, you notice less guards and more almost just like housekeepers, I guess. Like it went from like this ultra guarded noble house to now it just looks like a very nice house.
Mhm.
You do see a couple guards here and there, and one of them will let you in, saying Oberon's in his study, and you'll go and you'll see in where his father study was. You'll see Oberon sitting behind a desk. Looks pretty much the same as when you last saw him, maybe slightly more like a couple of lines on the face of stress. But besides that, he's dressed in like very nice, like noble, like
Mhm.
robes and garbs, not in armor at all.
Yeah. Uh, you hear like the same like the knock that Essa would always use to indicate that it's him. Same one he used for Tauros.
Come in.
And Essa will walk in and go, "Hey, it's been a while."
That it has. You see, he's going over like a couple of documents in front of him. He hasn't looked up yet. He's just took you a while to come visit.
Well, I've been busy. Life and adventure is never silent, as you remember.
I've heard, and he'll like finally look up, and you'll just see like a smile on his face. Poison Man.
Of course you've heard of that. Ugh.
It's hard not to.
It's a name I take on with pride.
You
It,
realize it sounds ridiculous, right?
I do, and that's what I love about it.
That's like calling Tauros the Sword Man, calling T the Fire
Yeah.
Lady. Okay, that actually kind of fits.
I was gonna say Magic Woman, but Fire Lady fits better. But yes, it's good to see. Like he'll kind of approach Oberon and try to like get him with a hug.
Yeah, yeah. Oberon will stand up after he has said that, and he'll give you a hug. He's still his height ever since he learned the root magic. He's still like 7'2".
I feel like
And
you've
just
gotten
like
even taller.
or you could just be getting shorter.
That might, who knows? But it's good to see you. I was in town and wanted to stop by and say hello to everyone. Make sure everyone's doing all right.
Yes. Doing well, as I'm sure you can see.
It looks like
Being
it.
the head of the Claudius family and a member of the council causes a bit of stress, but
Yeah.
nothing I'm not used to.
From what I hear, you're doing a pretty good job about it too. I love what you've done with the
Uh,
place.
Thank you. I was told that it was gaudy beforehand.
I would use the word pretentious, but gaudy also works.
Yeah, pretentious. Yeah. No, but it yeah, took some work. Um, had a little help with the redesign, thankfully. So no, I'm doing good. A bit stressed recently, but good.
If you need
Yourself?
something to help with that, I got tonics that can help with stress. If you want some.
I don't want anything you have. I'm sorry, Poison Man.
Very fair, very fair. But I'm glad I can catch up with you, and I will have to cut our introduction short. I am not staying in town for very long, but next time I come around, I will need to gather everyone up for a little reunion.
Of course. Before you head out,
Hmm?
if you want, he's in the mausoleum.
Esther just kind of nods and goes, "Thank you." And with that,
care.
he'll you too, and he'll head out and he'll go find wherever T is now.
Hmm.
Again, you get that same knock on your door.
She's dead.
Well,
She
shit.
throws open the door. She's
Oh
super
fuck! That hit me in the
excited.
face, T. Fuck.
It's good to see you too, Essa.
It wouldn't be Essa if he didn't fail his deck save.
Ew.
Brutal.
The entire time, like the firebrands have been with them. So like they've been traveling around with him as he meets with everyone. And he like turns down, and goes, "Now could you?" And then now like heals and goes, "Ah, fuck! It's good to see you too." Mm,
Have time to come in for a snack?
absolutely.
She's
And
got like a full afternoon tea spread out.
did you know I was on my way?
Oh, I just have this.
Oh,
At all times.
Yes.
do you expect guests regularly, or is this just for yourself?
Oh, frequently.
To which question? I asked too.
I have many guests on many occasions. It's a
Understood.
mark of a bad hostess if you're not prepared.
Fair enough. And he'll sit around like and enjoy the snacks and catching up. He goes, "Well, what you been up to since everything?"
Oh, everything. Uh, you know, I've taken over this town as a governess, and
Mhm.
I like to think I'm not running into the ground yet. So I'm
Well,
always
the
on
people
duty.
seem happy, so that's a point in your favor.
Hopefully. Now, if I know my Essa, I know you've got an ulterior motive. I don't get to have tea with you this easily.
I'm. Oh, truth be told, I'm in town for a very specific reason. There's one more stop. Well, you were actually the last person I ended up visiting. I have one more quick stop I have to make, and I wanted to ask you if you would mind watching over my new team here for a while. Like he's whispering this so they don't hear. While I go take care of this final bit of business.
What heinous shit are you up to this time?
I'm I'm gonna catch up an old friend of ours. And the implication is very clear as to who he means.
I don't know if it's T or Alice, but
He
the
means Edgar.
implication. Okay. Of
I
course,
thought it was
dear.
Kelsey. Oh.
I was gonna say it's the Reaper.
Of course, dear. I'll set them loose at the targets in the back.
Yeah. Be wary of that one, and he kind of points to Miss Vari. She hits like a freight train.
Oh,
She
good.
might break whatever you throw at her.
I need a new set anyway. Give me a reason.
And he'll like look to the firebrands and explain that he's going to go off on a bit of business on his own, but he'll return shortly, and he'll leave them with T as he heads to the mausoleum alone as he finds Edgar's, wherever Edgar has been placed. Just kind of walks up to it, and he'll just kind of go. It's, don't even know how to start this. it's, it's been a long time. You should be here. You should see all the wonderful things that everyone is doing and how great everyone is doing. You should see that Tauros has a kid and is married. You should see that Oberon is doing amazing as the head of the Claudius household. T is exceptional as a governess, and that they're all leading amazing lives. You should see that the world is so much better because of what we've done, and that we are continuing to do amazing things. You should be the one out there with this group exploring the world. It shouldn't be me. But that's the way fate played out. There's not a day that goes by that I don't miss you, man. I know I don't come by often, and I wish I could come by more. But it's I have a new team I need to lead, and finding myself as a leader, there's a lot I gotta do to make sure that they stay on the right path. Because I brought you something. Not only he reaches into a pocket and he pulls this kind of black, kind of all jet black marble that he got from someone who claimed it was some kind of divination stone for the occult. And goes, I figured you would think this was interesting. And he kind of places it at the foot of Edgar's Edgar's tomb, and just goes, I hope one day I'll be able to see you again wherever you are. And I hope then I can tell you to your face all the wonderful things that have been done. And hope that you can see that what we've been doing. Until then, my friend, the firebrands will keep burning bright. He just kind of gives a two-finger salute as he turns and walks out. Tears just kind of tears falling down his face as he's trying to wipe them so he doesn't seem so people don't see him crying. As he'll go back to teams, gather up the firebrands, and continue on an adventure. And that is most of S's life, is that adventure. He will continue on for years, leading the firebrands. New people come, people leave, but the four, him, Mifari, Naue, and Nala, are the four core members of it as they continue to help people where they can, to help free people from chains, from servitude, from oppression, doing what he did with the Elmera crew, doing what he knows would benefit the world, which is making sure that everyone is equal. As time goes on, though, there is a decrease in his abilities, and as he starts to hit his late 30s and early 40s, Essa is no longer even able to keep fighting, to really keep adventuring. He has to travel with the cane as his own dexterous abilities have weakened, and his body is weakening. Visiting multiple clerics, Essa learns what he figured out when he went to Tauros, and that he was dying. That because of what the Reaper had done to him, the power that he once had that he severed from, he was dying. And so Essa would spend the twilight years of his life, the final few years of his life, no longer out there on the field, but almost as a commander from a base, telling people, keeping his crew in line and letting the people that he's trained take over and lead this group to make sure that everything will be okay. And at the ripe age of 55, or 55, if my math is correct, Essa passes away.
All right. With that, T and Oberon, who wants to take over our next character epilogue?
First off, fuck you, AJ. Second off,
Cool. It's fun. It's fun to reference the
Cool.
chat that the audience can't see.
This will be cut out in post. God damn it. I will be going next. We're saving the best for last.
Okay.
Oh, God damn it.
Um, so immediately leading up to after the fight, while Toros and Essa and people mention like resting like few days, weeks after the fight, Oberon immediately is just swamped with work. He, with a heavy heart, takes up the name of the head of the Claudius family, and not only all the responsibility it holds, all the repercussions it holds as well, as the Claudius family was heavily involved with a lot of the horrible shit that the Empire did. And while he goes and tries to cut off as many rotten branches as he can, that'll never quite get rid of the corrupt nature that everybody sees. And I think it takes a lot of time before, like, Oberon, before the Claudius family is just looked at favorably. It's going to take a lot of time and a lot of effort. But upon taking his position as the head of the family, he goes to do a lot of things. Like I said, he puts into custody all the members who were involved with his grandfather, all the terrible atrocities that they committed. He goes to distributing a lot of the Claudius land to be used for the purposes of rebuilding. Um, he uses a lot of the funds that they have to just try and help and assist with whatever he can. Um, he's the Claudius family personally fronted the coin to build the statue in front of Lakar. Uh, he goes about and does his best to bring about change. Applies, like, goes to try and be a part of the council. It's up to you, Jack, how successful he is his first time, or if he needs like a couple times to fully get in.
I'd say the first election cycle, he it's a very close race, but then the second one is when he's finally made a member of the council.
Mhm. So, as a member of the council, he does his best to be the bridge between showing that the old ways can change, that not everything about the Empire was awful, and tries to represent that. Um, Another big thing that he does is he goes to Annie when it's said and done, and he offers to strip her of the Claudius name so that she can live a free life, a life where she's not bound by any name, any duty, any responsibilities, where she can actually just be free. And he'll offer to just do that, give her as much coin as she needs, and let Castor watch her for a year or two until she's comfortable on her own, and then let her explore and maybe eventually settle down where she wants to. Um, he still holds a bit of guilt, knowing that she will most likely never get her magic back. But it's something that when he sees her years down the line, happy, thriving, it doesn't alleviate his guilt, but it definitely softens it up. Oberon's martyr complex does not go anywhere for years.
Mhm.
Damn it.
It sticks around for a while, but that changes about 5 years down the line when Oberon, through similar situations that have happened to them, similar backgrounds, similar workspaces, eventually will begin a relationship and marry Hildra Femora.
Oh shit!
Oh,
Uh,
Damn.
Fucking go!
very much both of their fathers passed away in very similar manners at the same time. Both come with are in very similar situations, and I feel like it's through that. It takes a while. It takes like 2 to 3 years before they even start their relationship, because it's very much a thing of like oh, we're busy. Oh no, we can't do this. No, we can't, and eventually it just gets pushed onto them. I'm picturing most likely by T.
Yeah, T sets him up on a blind date.
And it goes from there, and it becomes a very happy time for Oberon. uh, but it does eventually lead to the birth of his 2 kids, twins. uh, the girl Thalia Claudius, and the boy Regulus Oak Claudius. Oak being symbolized by Edgar's last name. And he keeps close tabs with everybody in the group, or at least he tries to, as much as he can with Essa. But it's sparse and few between. Tauros, he probably has the most interaction with, just due to like political shit a lot of the time and city planning shit. And tries to get into contact. Definitely when he has his first kid, he goes to Tauros and he's like, "How do I do this?
How do I do?
How do I do?" And then he's like, "Wait, why the fuck am I asking you?" And he turns to Mao. "How do I do?"
It's canon.
um, but he also, him and T, he tries his best just to keep into contact with her. Knowing that even if there is an afterlife, I think knowing that T isn't going to go there with them, he kind of tries to spend every moment that he can with her. But it's around when probably one of the most important conversations Oberon ever has happens, right around the time when his twins are born. You see Oberon, like, it's probably close to 10 years down the line. He's kind of got a little bit of like a very neatly trimmed goatee that he's like, "I'm trying it out once. If it's horrible, never again."
T immediately points out how much you look like your dad.
And shifts off immediately.
uh, He'll laugh at that. But he goes, and he's dressed in he's dressed actually in his old gear from adventuring. It's very beat up. It's well taken care of as much as it can be, but this thing has eaten fire, lightning, like literal attacks from demigods. It's not in the greatest shape. Even with all the repair work. And all he's got with him is like a bag at his side and a what looks to be a bottle of like ale. But if you pay close attention, it's very shitty ale. It's like the kind of ale that you would find at a brothel that was served to you, knowing that you weren't supposed to be at the brothel, so they just gave you the most disgusting thing there to try and scare you off next time.
Do you remember that I'm not a bartender anymore?
There's a reason for this, as it's the bottle of ale that him and Edgar first drank when they snuck into Madame Chevreau's, the same brand.
I puked so much.
It was awful. And as he's going, there's like small yapping beside him as he looks down, and I'd say Woon at this point is like around him are like maybe 5 to 6 like small Elmera mastiffs that are like the size of like golden retrievers at this point, but that's small for them. And Woon, who is just old dog at this point. Like he's almost fully gray. Like he like has trouble moving around, kind of. Oh, there have been times when Oberon uses the whistle to summon him, so that he'll just bring him up the stairs, so he doesn't actually have to climb the stairs. And Wound's like kind of like way behind the puppies. And Oberon's just going to like pat him, but going like motion for them, or he's going to like whistle to Wound, and Wound will bark and like get all the puppies back to him. Uh, and he'll just kind of rub Wound behind the ears, and he'll just be like, "Just give me a minute, boy." And he'll go and he heads towards the Claudius Mausoleum. Uh, and when he gets there, he just takes a minute, just takes like a deep breath, and he'll just go and like he just like puts a hand, closes his eyes in front of a grave, in front of like a tomb, and just thank you again. I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have all of this if it wasn't for you. I miss you. And I know if he was here, he'd say the same thing. Love you. As he's going to move past his father's tomb. And then he's just going to plop down in front of another one. Who would have thought we would have ended up here? Not me. If I were a betting man, I would have bet every gold that I own that the situations would be reversed. As he just pops open the cork of the ale, like takes a swig, makes a face at it, he's like, "Oh, I really have turned into a wine person." And after he takes the swig, he just goes, "Yeah." And he just pours out a little in front of the tomb that says Edgar Wood / Claudius. And as he pours it out a little bit, just, you know, this is the first time I've been here in years. I think it was, if I came down here, it's almost like admitting you're never coming back. Maybe I could delude myself into thinking that you're out there with Essa. Maybe maybe Maka was able to save your soul and put it somewhere, and you're just out there, but I think you just call me an idiot for believing in that and not accepting the truth. You know, he takes another swig. Ah, God, this is embarrassing. But I feel like there's one last piece of closure that both of us need. And you watch as he goes into like his pocket of his pants, and you see he pulls out a very worn down, unopened letter that's just addressed to Edgar. You always said you wanted to have me read it to you myself, so better late than never, I guess. And you see he just like almost chugs the rest of the ale, leaves a little bit, and just, I know you're going to need it too to hear this. And he pours the rest of it in front of Edgar's tomb. And he opens it up and just like opens it. He reads the first couple of lines. Oh dear God. Oh jeez. And he puts his face in his hand. Can I undo this? Can I just not? And he waits a beat. Yeah, didn't think so. Dear Edgar, I know if you're reading this, then that means that grandfather has most likely killed me. I know that I made you, the group, and Annie a promise. But sometimes promises need to be broken for the sake of the greater good. I really wrote that. Wow. There's much that I wish to say to you, but I feel as if most of this letter would be wasted, and you wouldn't want to read it if that were the case. Instead, here's this. I'm sorry, Edgar. I'm sorry that you. I'm sorry that you all were put into danger and injured because I wasn't strong enough. I'm sorry that I caused you so much anger and pain for so many years, even indirectly. I'm sorry that I still to this day cannot fully understand you and what drives you forward for this change. But most of all, I'm sorry for not being the brother that you needed and deserved. Maybe in some weird, twisted way, this is my final act of trying to protect my brother. Take care of Annie. I could never be who she needs right now. She needs someone who will always be honest with her, someone who will always unconditionally do what's best for Annie. And I can't do that like you can. Edgar, this party needs you more than you will ever realize. You are the glue that has connected all of us in some way or another. Whether it be your bonding with Essa over your just general sadness, whether it be being able to connect to Tauros based off of your similar isolation and profiled upbringings, whether it's even just speaking with T and giving her somebody that she knows will listen. You helped us grow from a group of misfit adventurers that couldn't have been more different, been from more separate worlds, to actual friends. Look after them, Edgar, and fight. Fight so that this vicious cycle that my family has fed can finally be stopped. Be the hero that the Empire needs, Edgar. I guess what I'm trying to say is that I believe in you, Edgar. And I always have. And I always will. You meant the world to me. And no matter how much you despise me and my attitude, you always will. I will never in this lifetime nor the next be able to pay back what you have given me, what you have given all of us. Let this letter be the ultimate confession of this. I love you, brother. And I would be saying this even if we did not share the same blood. Family is what you find, not what you are born into. So please look after ours. both given and born into. From now until the day that the gods decide that it is both of our times, we will be brothers. And for that, and knowing that, is why I can safely write this letter and make this decision. Forever your brother, over on Claudius. And you see he kind of just folds up the letter and puts it on top of the tomb and like sits back and just leans his head back. He's actually sitting with his back up against the tomb, his head just leaning back.
I imagine the moment he thinks he would hit cold rock, he doesn't, and he feels something else, a little bit more fabricy, a little bit off though in that moment.
And he like Oberon's like at this point just emotionally drained, and he's like, "Okay, what's going on?" And he like puts a hand back.
I didn't think you knew that many words to be able to write a letter that long.
Oh, great! Now I'm hallucinating.
You might have got the Essa thing. Who knows?
Oh dear God, I hope not.
As operating there, a little older, even in this state, but like he looks well fed. He looks taken care of. He looks a relaxed version that I don't think Oberon ever saw. As longer, significantly longer hair. Still kind of that mohawk thing he had going on. But you just see in plain, nice clothing, Edgar. Right behind you.
And I never seen you in such nice clothes.
I know, it's really weird. I wasn't sure if I was allowed to take them, but Maka said that was cool.
I see. I see. It looks good.
Thanks. I'm not supposed to do this. And I think she's starting to really regret having me around with some of the things that I have done. But we're here.
Well, I'm glad you're here. Even if it's just in my head. Glad
Oh, no. No, don't worry. There's some weird, funky, divine energy going on in this, but I can't stay for long, and I have a favor to ask you. But you know me, I want to run my mouth as long as I can before that.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry I wasn't there in the last part. I'm not gonna lie, I was really scared when everything was happening, and she gave me a choice, and I thought this was a choice that meant you guys could do it. You proved me right, so thanks. But I'm not so sorry because I missed the fight and everything, but more so, I wish I was there with you when Dad did what he did.
I'm not sure if you saw or not, but besides your mother, he may have grieved the hardest, or taken it the hardest. If there was ever any doubt that he loved you, it was settled then. And at this point, after he says that, you just see like he's still like just like looking ahead kind of, but you see like tears begin to just flow from his eyes.
I'm gonna sit there. I'm gonna just take a second. He just walks around so that you guys aren't looking at each other for a second. He wipes away some celestial tears as he then turns around towards you. What's up with the beard? Why?
I just listen. I'm going to live for how long I want to try something. Okay.
It's not working. Has T
Listen,
told you if it works or not?
she said I looked like Dad.
That's awful.
Right.
That is awful.
Right. That's like if I said she looked like her grandfather.
Yeah. Okay, you're a dad now too?
Yeah.
Who let that happen?
Hildra.
Oh god, you both hate me. Oh, those kids. Oh no. Oh, the future of Elf. Oh, sorry. Like, building that bond is in kids that have the blood of two people who hate Edgar. That's great. That's great. Awesome. You're
You know,
taking care of them, right?
the best that I can. I don't know what I'm doing Edgar, but I've talked to several people who do. Um, they love visiting Sierra when they get the chance because, well, you know, they don't have grandparents on me or Hildra's side. But we made sure that they know about you, Edgar. The whole world knows.
I don't know how I feel about that. Like, that's
That's a good
weird.
thing. Your
That's why you
feelings on
did
the
it.
matter don't
Did
matter.
you? Is it your fault I'm a saint? Did you make that happen?
See, I didn't, but I didn't dissuade. I built you a statue.
That's dumb. Do you know how much shit
It was
I'm
an
getting?
absurd amount of gold.
Yeah, why? Do you know how much shit I'm probably getting from Kin and the other goth kids?
Oh,
Saints?
yes.
That doesn't fit the vibe, Oberon.
You never fit the vibe.
Go fuck yourself. Okay. Are you staying in Avon? Or, sorry, Moran?
I know. Takes some getting used to. Yeah. I am. There's still so much that needs to be done here, Edgar. And I'm needed here for more reasons than just that.
But I want you to go see the world, man. A little bit. Take a moment. Go see what Essa's doing. But you helped open up a lot of doors to a lot of people, and I think you, Hildra, the kids, just take a moment.
We will. But I want you to know my world, my whole world, is in there. And he's going to motion to the manor. And it's with them, with the others. You know, I came down here to finally put to rest the guilt that I have. And I think I have. But just this once. I'm sorry, Edgar. Not because it should have been me. Because it shouldn't have been any of us. Deserve to live.
No. Trust me, I have those moments too. I don't get to see a lot, but what I do get to see, I miss it. I miss you guys. But I also get to see so much more now. can't help the way I used to, but I still can in my own. And you guys gave us the opportunity, but now I have the chance here to pick up your fight. Maka's relentless. She reminds me a lot of you, and I hope you guys get a chance to talk. Picking up the sword that you've dropped off for me, but I need space from that. I need space from sorry. Because I think we both spent a lot of our lives so far saying sorry to so many people. For right now, I don't know if I'll get to ever do this again, but you said thank you, and I have to say it back. I've been a lost kid through everything. And we, despite everything that we went through, we're always there. And then we found people who would be there for us in a way no one else ever was stupid enough to. And we did miracles, man. So I don't care right now about the future of the world, greater good, or all that nonsense. Just right now, I know I got to be happy in a way I never thought I could. I think we all did, and we all now can. I came into life thinking that besides my mom, I would never have anyone truly there for me. Now I have a father that I'm proud of, a sister who I want to see what she does with her life, and a brother who can carry everything for everyone, especially someone who won't stop going for it like me. And there are those three out there. Something special in their own ways that I know will look to you. Keep letting them be your rock. And keep spending time together, please. It's a lot easier for me to spy on you guys when you're together. You're not doing that nearly enough.
We tried. You realize? Have you heard of Essa's new name?
I know. Oh my god.
They might as well call him the Knife Guy.
Alright, like, come on. There's like the Poison King or any, like, he could have done something really cool with it. He just let
No.
them call him. Never mind.
No.
Never mind. Also, what the hell is that thing with Tauros? Listen, I'm with Baphomalia. We didn't do that.
Why do children love it?
The absolute fear in Edgar's eye.
Why? I don't know why. Luma loves it. Regulus loves it. Dahlia loves it. I don't know why.
Fuck. If you haven't, I don't know if it's been brought up yet, because I don't think Dad would have, but she's gonna hate you a little bit more for this. Could you let Annie know everything about us?
Yeah. I get the feeling she may have at some point put it together, but officially, I'll invite her back. I'll let her know.
Alright, before I get into the business that I need your help with, I love you. I'm not going anywhere. You might not be able to bring me back, but I'm always here. And put some things in motion because I felt like I didn't get a chance to say goodbye to everyone. So I need your help. Part of why I want you to go travel is I need you to go see everybody at least one more time and give them something each. Once they do that, and don't tell them this part because it's going to be really funny when they go to sleep or like tea trances because I'm going to pop up. But once you give it to them, I'll be able to say a few things to each of them.
I'll give
Take care of Mom. I know you have, but I don't think you guys have probably talked, and that's because both of you are stubborn as hell, but I know damn well you both can be there for each other. And if it takes you telling her, hey, the ghost of Edgar said I have to talk to you, do it.
You realize she's going to slap me if I say that.
Yeah, that's fine. Honestly, when haven't you been slapped by a member of my family? It's part of the deal. Kin doesn't need to be taken care of. Neither do the goth kids, but just talk to her once in a while. Share the shitty, embarrassing things you have to say to me. I don't know what else, but help her. Help them out. I don't know how to say goodbye to you.
Then don't. Because it's not really goodbye. We'll speak later. At some point.
Edgar's just gonna take a moment. He's gonna move his hair, and you're gonna notice he's not wearing the eye patch. There isn't the eye, like it isn't a normal eye. It has been filled with the more radiant energy than before. But he just grabs your shoulders. He uses his celestial thing to make himself a little bit taller, so it's less awkward, like what it used to be
Really?
before you became tall. Come on, don't bring it up. I don't like how tall you are now. But puts both hands on your shoulders, just looks you eye to eye for a moment, and just says, I'll see you around. And because I can't let things end on a good note, I gave all of them gifts, and I've given you one that you're gonna get at some point. And I'm gonna he's gonna pull you in for a hug and just squeeze you and into your ear and say, and you're gonna hate me so much for it.
And you feel the arms like reach up and wrap around you and just, I'll get you back.
I look forward to it.
And I think it's after that that almost like he was never there. Oberon just like slowly like feels nothing in his arms anymore. And after he does that, just gives a chuckle and like just lets out a very just from like the depth of his gut laugh, like the kind that you when you like just have to, and there are just tears down his face, but just a big smile on his face. And after just like a solid minute, he just wipes his tears. See you around. And he's going to pat the letter that's on the tomb. And he's going to exit out. And I feel like it's at that point that the twins impact his legs as he was leaving, having been waiting outside, and wanting him to explain why he was in there so long. And he just begins telling the tale of, and it's at when he starts to tell this tale, he just gets a smirk on his face, and he begins telling the tale of the celestial that is their uncle, just putting him in a very holy light, just knowing that it's going to make Edgar so mad. But he just does so. and he walks away a lot lighter than when he first entered. And after that, it takes maybe a few weeks to get everything into order to where he can go on these trips. And obviously, the first person he'll see is Tauros, followed by T. And it takes a while to track down Essa, I feel like, but eventually he does. And he tells each of them about Edgar. And finally, the last person he goes to see is Annie, where he's figuring she probably figured it out at some point. She's smart, but telling her the truth. And after that, he goes back. He continues to live his life, a long life, outliving Tauros, outliving Edgar, outliving Hildra. And he never remarries afterwards. But his twins go on to start families of their own. Some stay, some leave. And it's right around the time when I'm picturing Oberon is older. Physically looks like he's in probably like his 60s or 70s. Even the magic that made his stature so big has probably like dwindled at this point. Like the rune magic has like exceeded its life expectancy. And he's just gonna be sitting there lying on his bed, just waiting for the end to come peacefully. And that's where Oberon's story ends.
After their victory, the first thing that T did was find Chevra to make sure her other family was safe, embracing her sometime mother and her dearest Cammy. T used her connections to secure a position as a governess of a small but respectable town just outside of Avon, close enough where she could still see Chevra anytime she wanted, but far enough to have a quiet life. Tiana was never afraid to wield her power to protect her own town from the wilds or hostile forces, but saved most of her energies for her family, both blood and bond. She stayed fiercely loyal to her brothers in arms, supporting them in any way that she could. About 5 years after the battle was won, a young Annie Claudius ventured out on her own. As she took her first steps outside, her once-lost powers were at once restored to her by the goddess Elothin, as a boon to Tiana, her chosen champion. When she did die, she left all of her wealth to the orphanages on her lands. She would spend free afternoons reading to the children of the orphanages and her friends, trying to inspire them to be as strong as Tauros, as wise as Oberon, as heartfelt as Edgar, as brave as Essa, as intelligent as Fen, and as loyal as Zara. Upon her death, T was laid to rest in a cemetery, surrounded by the bodies of the heroes that she fought for the fate of the continent with. The plot was laid on a hill overlooking one of the many beautiful towns that sprung up in the wake of war. Her epitaph read, Tiana Polokrovka Rockfort, laid low to save our souls. Death, thou shalt die. While her casket laid crumbling, her soul was hard at work. Bending to Kolik's every whim, T spent her aeons gathering magics for her, fighting assorted Sylvanist agents, and gathering eggs. She was dutiful in her dual service as the visage of Kolik crumbled to reveal Lothin's true form. T spent years fighting at her side, working as a double agent, feeding information from Morrigan to Maka in the brutal Celestial War. T served Elothin's court with honor as a proud Celestial and chosen champion of Elothin.
You motherfucker.
That
What the fuck?
So,
The fuck is this lore drop?
what do you mean? Did you guys
The
not
fuck
know
is
this?
this?
What do you mean?
So
No.
So
was that the private conversation
the
that we
private
never heard?
conversation that T had with Kolik was Kolik revealing that Kolik is not just a hag. She's a shed, separate division of the goddess of secrets and magic, Elothin.
Holy fuck.
who has worked as her alternate form of Colic to undermine and destroy the goddess that Elothan truly hates, Morgan.
God damn.
And
And Elothan offered her a boon to assist in her service. She could pick anything she wanted, and T chose to restore Annie's magic to her
Oh,
once she was
you
ready to go out on her own.
bitch.
And
Oh,
she never
You
told
bitch.
Oberon that she had
Oh,
She
magic.
never told
Oh,
Oberon.
and she never told Oberon because Colic modified her memory to not know what happened in that private conversation that she had.
See,
Those are
it would have been so
persuasion
much
checks.
better if she hadn't have told Oberon out of her own free will to be the dichotomy of Oberon not telling Annie what was actually at
Oh,
stake.
that would
have
be
been the
fun.
ultimate like duality of man moment, and it
Mhm.
would have.
See, T believes in something called informed consent.
Mm-hmm.
Not that you know anything about that.
Damn.
Prayer Oberon.
uh,
Anyway, that was T's backstory. Thank you.
yeah, so that's T's fun little
Wow.
epilogue and true reveal at the
Holy
end there. So
shit.
now T is serving not only as a as a hag, as a hag in Colic's coven, but also as a celestial in the divine court of Elothan as her chosen.
Huh. Holy
That's all he's
shit.
got to say. That's all he's got to say. Oh
That
my
was
fucking
awesome.
god. Straight cooking
That was
and
great.
shit. That was beautiful.
So yeah, Edgar, did you have a little message for everyone?
Yeah, who wants to go for Oberon has to be last. I have to save the Oberon one for last, but who wants to go
Do we want to go
first?
in reverse order besides Oberon of how the
Oh,
start with
yeah.
T?
Perfect. Edgar is pissed. This is the night after you talk to Oberon. You are handed what's just it starts as a little mote of energy. That eventually just dissipates in you. And as you go to trance, you actually fall the fuck asleep for probably like the
shit.
first time ever. It's like, all right. As you awake in basically the same booth that we would all sit in Chevra's early
Oh.
on. That was where Edgar decided to pick for this one. As Edgar was planning to come in very excited, very happy, but then has a moment where he's like, oh, 1 second, be right back.
All right.
this
So Edgar had planned to come in very excited, very happy for this moment, but he's sitting anxiously as he waits. He's like, have a seat, T.
To what do I owe the pleasure?
Do you know how many celestial years I spent trying to gather divine energy to then give Annie her magic back, only to find out the bullshit?
Sorry.
I'm mad at Colic. I'm less mad at you, still a little bit mad at you.
That's fair.
Wild. That's wild. Okay. Hi, how are you?
Hi, I miss you.
I
I'm
miss
well
you
done.
too. Okay, so I got mad at you, and now you might get a little mad.
What did you do?
You know how good old Edgar thing of doing something that he thought would be nice without really thinking it through?
Yes.
You remember Lacar like the massive bone tree in the middle?
Of course.
You know how
by
that
herself?
energy, yeah, that was really cool. You know how that energy kind of stays stagnant in the tree until it needs to be called upon again?
What did you do?
I said, what if it wasn't stagnant and instead was dissipated across the mortal plane so that other people could have access to the energy and the will of someone who cared so much she came back to fight in a cool ass form? I don't know how many, but there might be a lot of people who have woken up with divine soul, like magic, kind of similar to me. And I didn't realize this would happen, but apparently, like, there's a moment when that happens and they get like a guiding point. And as I was thinking about it, I was like, oh, you know who really helped me learn my magic stuff? It's like T's a really helpful person when it comes to magic. And then I talked to like Baphomet and others, and they said that means they're all probably gonna try to come find you at some point to help them.
So I now have to open up a magic school.
I mean, if you want to, no
Never asked that
pressure.
before.
I have spent most of my free time, if I get any, trying to help the children in my area. So, it would be an oddly fitting use for the spare rooms in the governor's mansion.
See, I don't think we ever talked about this when I was there, but I went to the classes sometimes just to see what they were about. And the way they were teaching what magic was is what I thought. I thought that was amazing what was going on in the academy. And then you cast magic. And there was a beauty behind it. There was emotion behind it. And it was a living thing when you cast it. See. And I tried really hard to replicate it, but I was nowhere near what you were. But I don't know what happens with the academy. I don't know what happens elsewhere. But if even a small amount of people can learn how to do magic like you, I think the world's a better place.
I'm flattered. I'll certainly do my best with your divine charge that you've given me, Mr. Saint. We're all
that
roasting you for
sucked.
that, aren't we?
That sucked. That really sucked, if I'm not gonna lie.
Your Holiness?
Nope. Thank God this has limited amount of time. But is Chevra good?
Yes, she's well.
Good. How are
Cammy
the
too?
parents? Good.
Parents are doing well.
So Cammy and you, is that like what? Are you official?
Yes, we're married.
Yes. Edgar does too. Like a yes. Fuck yeah. I told Oberon to look out for some people when he eventually fumbles the bag. Could you like be there to help out?
Of course.
Yeah.
I made sure that the town that I picked was not too far away, so I could still meddle whenever I wanted to.
Are you happy?
I am. Hard-won happiness, but happy.
Earned. Definitely.
Thank you. Are you happy with the choice that you made?
Yeah. Took a while. But I still get to fight. I still get to help. And I get to see what you all are up to. And bother you. Never mind.
Hey, don't hold your breath too long. I suppose I'll be joining you in a couple 100 years.
It's the one good thing to come out of the Olothan bullshit. I'm never gonna, like, I saw her at some point, she's doing it, and I was like, I hate you. And she just threw an egg at me. All right, cool.
That's Lothan.
So I'm gonna
I'm just
need you up
picturing
here.
a Lothan T-posing in front of Edgar as he opens his door.
Assert dominance.
That's dominance.
Oh,
I'll see you up
Yeah.
there.
you got a lot of years, but
Yeah.
I'm sure that will have some real fun messing with the gods.
It's gonna be the best.
The Sylvan form misses you. They're kind of out-ish.
Oh,
It's really weird. Like they're kind of here. So he's really hoping to get a chance to actually hang out with you without us losers.
good. Well, I suppose this must be running out.
Just about. Let's see when it ends though. I don't know. Maybe another round before we call it.
A couple.
Because I think they don't realize when it actually does end.
No.
They just talk through it before fading away.
All right. I believe next is
Essa.
Essa.
Yes,
Yeah. When Oberon finally finds you, what you're given is not the moat, but you're actually given the stone back that you left on the mausoleum.
Yes, he kind of looks at Essa now is like when Oberon finds him, he is older. This would be about when his dexterity starting to falter, so he has like a cane. It's very clear like a cane that has like he can turn into a sword if he needs to defend himself. But like his hair's already starting to gray, and he's like in his late 30s. He is not old at all, but like he's moving and looks like someone who's double their age. And he'll take the gift.
When he goes to bed, they wake up in the alley where we saw the rebellion member jump away. Edgar's like, oh, really cool grappling hook. But I think one of the first times Essa and Edgar had a real conversation, as you just see Edgar there bouncing something rubber against that wall.
I die already? I thought I had a few more years in me.
Oh, shit, you're old.
And you're here.
Surprise. I heard you years ago. I promise you, I heard you. Just took a while for me to steal enough from the divine plane to pull this nonsense off.
Like Essa, after kind of like getting over the shock of seeing Edgar, like immediately like kind of runs as best he can. Not really runs, kind of hobbles up to him and gives him like wraps arm in his hug. It's just good to see you.
Hugs you back and says, this is really cool, and I'll let you stay in old form if you want, but let's at least give you some of your bodily function back.
Hell, I haven't felt like that in years.
No.
I
It's you, man.
miss you too. I miss our conversations. I miss hanging out with you. And like I said years ago, this would be a lot more fun if you were here with me.
You are hard as hell to follow from up here. You know that? The rogue shit makes it really hard to spy on you.
Well, I guess count your blessings that my Rogan days are over.
Debatable. You might not have the dexterity from before, but you're still Essa.
I've actually picked up some tools of the trade from my mom when I was the few times I passed through. She gave me some books and learned from that, and well, I took after her a bit. Like he sees like all the like little potions that he carries around and gadgets that he has on him now. Or like what counts as like gadgets in Elmera.
Yeah, I've heard you're really the man now.
Don't you fucking dare! I had
I
enough
know.
shit from Oberon years ago. He does
I
not
know.
stop.
Listen, I know you're gonna drop the same shit on me to piss me off, so I have to get a jab in before that.
Go ahead, throw it.
The poison man.
Look, a kid gave it to me. And I'm not gonna. I'm not like Oberon where I cared enough of my personal image to like try to make it sound cooler.
God,
That's never been me. You know that.
We need to give Oberon a really bad nickname. How has he not gotten one?
I mean, you saw that beard though, right?
Oh.
You asked for some insane shit, and I guess this is gonna. I don't think you're gonna have to worry about finding me, because I think soon enough I'll be finding you.
Doors
Whatever.
open.
Whatever was left is killing me. And truth be told, I don't know how long I have left. Every day I can feel it. Every day's a bit colder. I guess
Can
it's
I
one
help
less.
you?
I don't know. What my
When I say, can I help you? Can I get you help?
to stop this?
No, but there are things that when you get here I want to talk about when it comes to the Reaper, because I have some thoughts that I'm interested in discussing with you.
Mhm.
But I wanted to come see you sooner. I'm really, really happy you're on these adventures. But I wanted to give you something to not only enjoy what you've got and taken from the world and done on your missions, but I need your help with putting something into the world.
Absolutely.
Edgar's got one hand still balled up on his side, but in one hand he's gonna open it and you're gonna see a seed. About palm size, so like not too big. But as you look at it from afar, it's a big seed. Like that's a big seed, but it looks very plain until you get closer to it and you do notice there's something odd about it. Depending on the angle, the light that you look at almost looks like it's two-sided. One side looks magical, looks like it's glittering in some spaces, like it's almost moving at points. And then when it turns, the other side is more hard and an ivory-esque nature to it. I made something while I was here with the help of Afamalia and Maka. Oberon's doing a hell of a job. He has kids. That's wild to me. I still
Oh,
can't get over that.
I saw that, and Taurus does too.
Wild. But building the connection with what Famora and Maka wanted, I wanted to give the world something back. This is what I came up with. As I need those legs of yours to keep going a little longer.
I understand. Do you have any specific place you want it planted?
Wherever you feel. Wherever you think the world. Wherever you think two people who loved each other so much would have loved to see that they still been together.
I just kind of nod and go, I'll find a place.
And the other part, yeah, I know you have firebrands, which, fuck yeah, that's sick. I grabbed the stone from you. It's one of the things that I love was how you handled those powers that you had early on. What you did with them, how you finished the story for Richmond's wives. What if I can help you get that power back with no strings? Hear the stories, talk to them, help them, but maybe they help you.
I can help. Yeah, that would help. Then I'll do it.
I'm gonna hold your hands and the stone at once, and I'm just gonna vibe it with what I can.
Yeah,
Won't let you talk to me.
I'm sure soon enough we'll be having plenty of conversations. I don't know how much this, again, looks around the alley, has left, but I wanted to ask you one question that I think you're the only one who could give me an answer on. What is it like dying and moving on? Because I'll be honest, I'm scared. I don't know where I'm going after this.
I'll be honest. It was cold. And it was scary. There's a part there that I really don't know how to describe. It was not fun. Kinda hurt at a point. But at some point, you come up for air. And I really do believe you have your choice of what you see.
It's just kind of nods. As like, I imagine as the magic maybe starts to fade a little, the oldness kind of comes back. So he has the cane in his hand again. He's using it to prop himself up and goes, "Thank you."
I know the two of us have sucked at heist. I know. But
Are you
if
gonna
you
ask
end
me
up somewhere, you don't want to be breaking you out.
Good to know. I was about to ask if you were going to ask me as I am to do a heist, and
No.
that's a dream long gone, my
No.
friend. Getting old
It's the one.
sucks. It really sucks. I hate that
want to
I
know.
have this. You're lucky you, and lucky everyone else too. Fucking over on a T. I have to fucking walk with a cane. My legs don't work. My back hurts all the fucking time. I can barely see as I got these damn things. Like, hold, like pushes on a pair of glasses and goes, my whole body's just fucking dying at this point.
Edgar laughs. I think Edgar remembers that the last version of Essa he saw was not okay. And he just gives you one more hug in the moment, says, "You're gonna continue to, but you lived a hell of a life, Essa Reyes."
A life I'm proud of. Even through the darkest moments. Thank you for everything. For believing in me when I didn't believe in myself, and keeping me on the straight and narrow. You were the reason I could fight him off. I could fight all of it off. Even though there are consequences, I definitely take this rather than being what I was.
Well,
If I could, oh, go ahead.
no,
If I could ask
you
you
got a
one
little bit
thing,
more.
say if I could ask you one, sorry, say if I could ask you
Go
one
ahead.
thing above all else after I'm gone, and you have some way of keeping an eye over this world, is keep an eye on the firebrands for me. They're good, and they know how to handle themselves well now. But they may need some divine guidance here and there.
Wouldn't know anything about that.
Mr. Saint.
God
I,
damn it.
you were hoping I would bring it up.
Yeah, no. All right. I'm gonna run away now. Because that was the plan all along. As Edgar pulls out his grappling hook in this moment. And he's like, this has to work once. As he throws it up towards the wall.
He threw the thing.
Wonderful.
I give it 2 fingers to Edgar as the magic fades.
Mhm. All right. On to good old Tauros.
Tauros, similar to T, just gets a moat that radiates through him. And when Tauros goes to sleep, he wakes up surrounded by a ton of wind, as we seem to be on top of some sort of mountain or on like a cliff's edge somewhere. So I'm sorry about the locale.
He
There
kind of like
there were sentimental spots, but we also kind of have to do something here, if that's cool.
he kind of like looks around as he like Edgar, is that you?
Yeah.
Oh,
Hey, Taurus.
and kind of like extends it, almost like unknowingly, kind of extends a hand towards him for like the grasp that the handshake he usually does.
What are you doing? As I
Are
go in
you?
for a hug.
Yeah, no, he like grabs you and
Yeah.
pulls you in, and it's almost like picks you up. Just I thought it was another dream.
Yeah, no, took a lot. I don't think Maka's happy with me, but that happens.
Why are you here?
I didn't get a chance to say goodbye to any of you guys, and I felt really bad about that.
I've missed you. You were the reason I fought for what was right. It was because of you that I wanted to fight for the people who didn't have a voice, because you fought for them. And I wanted to be there for you. And not being able to help you in that moment, it stung. That day, that fight in that laboratory, I could see you hurt, and I wanted to talk to you after, and that never came. But you did what was right, as always. You've fought one hell of a fight. He like kind of like he's still kind of like almost like just really close to him. And he kind of like puts his gauntlets on your shoulder and like kind of gives you like a very firm squeeze. I sure you hear this a lot, but I'm so proud of you, Edgar.
You're not gonna call me a saint, right?
Not yet.
Gosh,
There's this like
gets
small
worse.
smile. Like you can see the tears have started to like kind of like prick at his eyes, like the sides of his eyes, but there's a smile on his face. No, that's coming, but not yet.
Edgar wipes away some tears as he just says, "Listen, you have a connection that no one else has here, and so I can offer you something, at least a couple things, but starting with this. If you ever need any help from across our plane, cast a spell like commune, augury, or whatever, and you want someone who's nowhere near as smart as like Bavamaya or maybe someone else, but if you need anything, please, you can call out to me. I've arranged to do my best to be there for you.
Is like
Mainly, there's the bullshit part, but also just because I want to talk to you. Probably mostly it.
again, that smile is just hasn't wavered from his face. The longest you Edgar has ever seen him smile. Like it holds as he nods. I would like that a lot. I would like to be able to tell you about everything that's happened. In one way or another, I'd love you to meet my daughter. I make sure to tell her lots of stories of you. She would have liked you.
Sorry I'm not there, but
He kind of
I'm
like
proud of
gives
you.
him another like shoulder shake, but you are.
Sort of change, huh?
I wasn't sure of it at the beginning. I know it's, as people say, in character for me to not want to do something like this, but I didn't think I was worthy. I always felt as though I should just keep low. But then I thought of Elda and what she would want for me. Not who she was, but who she saw me as. And I wanted to honor that person. I wanted to honor myself. So I took up the mantle, and I'm trying to right so many wrongs. I'm trying to help Oberon. He's he's hurting, but he's better. And I just want to help the people that you always believed in.
And are you finally letting them help you?
I am. It's silly to think that it's odd to feel this loved, even at this point, even after all that we'd been through. But to have not just my family, but the family I grew up with, that I know I can turn to, even when Oberon is at his desk, T is busy being a governess, and Essa's somewhere else. And even while you're planes away from us, I know I have you guys. And that makes me happy.
Tauros, do you feel free?
For a while, I don't know if I did. But at the same time, I don't think I felt as chained. I don't think I felt as pushed down. Because of you, I didn't feel like just a weapon in another person's hand. I felt like I was my own person. I was who I was. Not because someone defined me, but because I knew what I'd become. I was not just some beast for someone to throw aside. I was a shield. I was a sword. I was a beacon. And it's who I am. And it's because of you, Edgar. Because of your example, I'm able to be who I am. At one point, I don't know if I would consider that free, but I damn sure do now.
There was a point early on I didn't think that was going to happen for us. I think we both had that feeling.
Yeah.
But look at you now. Can I do something? And the reason why we're up here,
Of course.
I want to help you feel a little freer.
By all means.
So, we're on like a big ass mountain here because I was trying to figure out which ones, but then I realized I don't know. Um, so your demonic form, like really cool, but I also know that's on a time limit. How'd you feel about always having wings?
I would say let's give her a go.
All right, so we're not gonna kill anything. We're not gonna hunt it down. But as you finally see some clouds dissipate, and there are a ton of flying things around us, I just needed inspiration for what kind of wings to ask for. So, do we want to go hunt to figure out which wings best suit you?
Um, you know what? Edgar, that sounds like fun.
All right.
And
Hey, um, Milby's weird, man.
yeah, he's he's pretty fucking scary. But he's a good steed. It's odd to have something so I'm so used to it being a horse, and it still acts like a horse. Still very, very sweet. But a lot of them doesn't have skin, and that's weird.
That's a sorry weird shit, and I'm so sorry for that.
My daughter loves him, and it really worries me.
Gotta be honest, I would have loved it too as a kid. It's edgy as fuck. Tauros, you might have birthed the goth kid. I am so sorry.
Oh no.
As I think we just run off and spend the rest of the dream figuring out what wings Tauros
Yeah.
wants.
As they kind of run about, um, hunting and sightseeing these creatures. At the very end, I imagine they're like kind of like chilling out, and the dream's kind of fading, and Toros finally says, "Edgar, can I tell you something?
Yeah.
I voted for you to be a saint." And then that's when he wakes up.
Fuck you! I yell on a mountaintop from Edgar.
And he wakes up.
Yo, why am I just picturing fucking Luma being like, I don't want going through teenagers. I don't want to talk to you, Dad, unless you're in the cool form.
Mm-hmm.
And I imagine the wings that Toros then wakes up, not unlike his demonic like leathered wings, but they have these almost like fractal bones coming out of like the claw, like the where the claws of a bat would be. These like large bones kind of like coming out, almost like a cape, like a crowned cape.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
All right, and
There's small things that get passed around. Early Oberon finds a massive, pristine bone for one. Like it never degrades at any point. It is just for one.
but it's also soft for his sensitive teeth.
Yes.
Perceptive old
Oh.
doggy.
For any, there's a journal, one that just seems to always fill with more pages, as she needs, just to chronicle what she has, with a note that just says, "I'd love to read it someday," from Edgar. For Fen, at some point, as Oberon asks him to visit Fen as well, what you give to Fen immediately transforms into a chunk of metal that Fen would realize very quickly has some very interesting divine elements to it, as there's just a note on it that says, "Go crazy."
Oh, mind if I do?
Oh, you should not have done that. That's the thing we talked about.
Yeah.
The next time we see Fan, he has invented guns.
Oh.
There are little things for Kanasha and for Sierra that just notes from Edgar saying what he wished he would have had the chance to say when he passed. And a note nudging Kin to go out and explore the world the way they had hoped to do together. Hope they go accomplish great things. For my mom, it is just to know that I'm really happy with where and how I died. Wish we could have spent more time together, but she now has the Asori, and I hope she has Oberon. So that's part of it. And on the Oberon note, Oberon, I would imagine at some point just waits, like might hear from the others what happens. It's like there's nothing coming for a while. And at some point, maybe a few years down the line, Oberon gets a random ass knock on his door.
Yeah. Goes to open it.
Opens it and sees a goblin. Scrawny, tired, looks like he's wearing like chainmail, but it's worn down, it's shit. He has a sword in a sheath, fully black, the entire thing. As he just comes up to you, he's got wisps of little red hair, and he's like, "Are you fucking Oberon?"
Yes.
"My name's Reg. I'm a paladin of Maka. I've been going on a bunch of random quests, and apparently I'm supposed to come to you now."
Who sent you on these quests?
A lot of things, like random signs and all that. My family at first were like, "Oh, go explore, go see what the world has to offer and whatnot." Then they're like, "Oh, hey, go see where all these heroes did all this cool shit." Then I found an eye patch. Now I can't let go of the eye patch. It's still here. Grabbed a sword. I don't know why it's got painted blood on it, but I have it. And now, through a series of unfortunate events, I have been told that I need to come to you for guidance.
Yeah. Yeah, Edgar's gonna get it. Alright. Well, first things first, and he's just gonna nod to the sword. You know how to use that.
Pulls it out. A little.
All right, there's a training ground off to the side. Let's see if you actually are in need of guidance. And I feel like, based off of what happens there, Oberon may. Oh, God. Oberon probably is like, you know what? Nah, we rolling with this, and goes and just tries as much as he can to just push him towards like viewing Edgar as like this patron saint. He's like, you need to pray to him every night after you pray to Maka. Pray to him every night.
Edgar's like, oh, it backfired.
But at some point, Oberon probably begins to like the kid.
At some point, Oberon would also learn that he is a member of the Red Claw clan from the very beginning.
And that's kind of Oberon's way of coming full circle, I guess.
All right. Well, that I think wraps up the epilogues for all of our lovely player characters. Some quick where are they nows for the NPCs. Kanasha, along with Saul and Zuzu, worked to reconstruct the Adventuring Academy. They renamed it to the Radimus Rex Adventuring Academy and shifted its focus from teaching people to become mercenaries for the wealthy into becoming explorers, protectors, and diplomats. Satellite campuses were constructed throughout the allied peoples of Elmera's territory, named after the prestigious alumni of the original academy that upheld the values of the APE, including Lochlari and Mara Deldrex. Kanasha also went on to become an ambassador to the Republic of Nantua, representing the APE. They worked tirelessly to maintain the relationship between the allied nations, and even began a courtship with the Nantuasian governor. Castor originally wanted to resume his pledge of protector to the Claudius family, but after Oberon's insistence to find a path of his own, decided to become an instructor at the Radimus Rex Adventuring Academy, where he quickly became one of the most respected teachers of the fighting classes. Sierra founded an apothecary that focused on not only creating medicine, but experimenting and developing new and more effective cures. She campaigned and succeeded in creating a universal healthcare system for citizens of the APE, and even began overseeing the spread of clinics throughout the nation. The Cards continued to serve Micah Stowen, who would become a major political figure in the APE. He became a staunch advocate of half-elf representation and empowerment to combat the social stigmas that unfortunately are still entrenched among some of the elven citizenry. Kieran Thorpe, the leader of the rebellion, became a member of the APE Council and married the love of his life, the woman named Sawmelm. Together, they worked to represent the will of the common person in the APE and ensure no other elected official abuses their power. And lastly, Annie. She dedicated her life to learning all that she can of the various peoples of Elmera. She traveled across the entire continent, offering aid where she could, and sitting back to learn when she encountered new ideas and traditions. Eventually, she published a multi-volume work detailing all that she learned during her travels, and founded a college of sociological study in Meran. While she was delighted to regain her magic, she only ever practiced it as a tool to assist in her cultural studies. She saw what happened to those who pursue magic power solely for its own gain, and knew that she never wanted to fall into that trap. And with this, we now conclude Dice Age Elmera. Thank you so much, and I guess we'll see you all in the next campaign.
Bye, everyone.